Did you always grow up with folk music? Did you grow up with it?
I think I was born with a folk music gene. As a child, the first music that caught my attention was folk music. At the Hampton Beach amateur hour, I sang Clementine, I think when I was 5.
Did you learn the folk tradition from the folk tradition, where it's listening, finding and listening?
Actually, the first time I get into folk music was 2 very important albums, English Street Songs by A.L. Lloyd and Bad Lads and Hard Cases by Ewan MacColl. Yeah, Hard Cases, sort of a problem person in England, a criminal.
A hungry feeling came on me stealing, and the mice were squealing in my prison cell. And that old triangle, it went jingle jangle along the banks of the Royal Canal.
There were 6 jolly tradesmen come rambling over the hill. Come rambling over the hill, my boys, for they were a cheerful crew. They all sat down for to be merry, they called for a bottle of wine or sherry. You're welcome over the hill, says Nelly, when Johnson's ale was new.
Well, I started singing folk songs in college. And when I got out, I was teaching prep school in Berkshire. But I'm from this area, and there was a coffee house over on Bow Street called the New World Gallery. And Danny Gravis was one of the regulars there, but Danny would play Boston. And he started bringing some of those Boston musicians up here. He brought Paul Jeremiah up and Chris Smither, and then he brought Bill Staines one weekend, and that's where I met Bill.
Now come on, you young sailors, and listen to me today. I know when you've heard me tell you pity me. For I was a goddamn fool in the port of Liverpool the very first time I came home from sea. Now I played off at the home from the port of Sierra Leone, and £3.10 a month it was me pay. But I wasted all me tin drinking up the gin with a little girl, his name was Maggie May.
The coffee houses were there in the 60s, but they started to decline. The last one here, the New World, probably went out of business 69 or so, and that's when the Stone Church opened in Newmarket, which was a big folk club for a while. And then they found there was more money in rock and roll. They had the university students. And then Jay Smith opened up the press room here in Portsmouth back in 1976. And such innovations as the first draft Guinness in the state of New Hampshire. And he had folk music, real traditional music. I guess the first night they had a bunch of bikers from the old bar sitting down here wondering what this contra dance band was playing. But over the years, it brought in some wonderful traditional music. English tradition, Irish, American, blues, then jazz. And back, I guess it was around 1981, the press room got a ballroom license, which means you can serve liquor. You don't have to serve food, but you have to have live entertainment. The Stone Church got one of those. The Franklin Theater was sort of a little rush for these at one point. And so when that license converted, they had to have music. So they had piano players at lunch, and Jay just asked different musicians if they'd do a couple hours in the evening. So I started doing Tuesdays, then I switched over to doing Friday nights. And then Bob Frost started coming in to join me, so there were the 2 of us. And that other guy who was here on a submarine came wandered in one night, says, "Well, can I bring my banjo?" We said, "Sure, come on in." And then David, who I'd known since back at the New World Gallery in the 60s, started coming down from Northwood, and we'd sit here and jam a little bit. And then Emery Hutchins, who's in here tonight, used to be the group called Northeast Winds, started joining us. And then Channel 11 did a feature on it. Fritz Weatherby. And we started having people coming in like crazy. And some people would come in to listen, some people came in to play, some left, and some stayed. We've had some people who came in because of that are still with us. And so these Friday night sessions are sort of part of a living tradition. We mix up between songs, between tunes. We do a lot of Celtic music, English music. We do some American. You never can tell what can happen. We have people drop in from time to time from different parts of the world. Tom Lewis, who's an English singer living in Canada, came in once a few years and said, geez, I've been trying to get here for 2 years. And he came, did a couple sets. We haven't seen him since. We had a fella come in a boat. He was a sailor from Britain. He was sailing around the world, and he made a stop here in Portsmouth. He came in, he went back, got his fiddle and his bagpipes, came in and played for a while. So we never can tell what's going to happen Friday nights, except that it continues. It continues. The music builds. We learn tunes from each other. We learn choruses to songs. We learn how to accompany. And so it's always a learning experience and always a growth experience, and always musically, sometimes better than others, but always musically fun.
Sea shanties. Sea shanties are work songs. Back before the hydraulic winch, it required teamwork to raise a yardarm or a sail. And it was the shantyman who led the crew in song.
There's some that's bound for New York town, and others that's bound for France. Heave away, me Johnny, heave away. And some that's bound to the Bengal Bay to teach them whales a dance. Heave away, me Johnny lad, we're all bound to go.
Nowadays, over in Portsmouth, Tom Hall and Dave Bem fancy themselves modern shantymen. And their crew, well, their crew is just whoever happens to show up on a Friday night at the press room.
Darling! Good, how are you?
Well, I consider myself a shantyman. And Dave. Dave is also a shantyman. There are a couple of us who know a lot of the leads. But we couldn't do it without the chorus. You can't sing a shanty by yourself. If you've got a bunch of people singing together on the refrain, it comes alive.
She were gone,
Sing it, boss.
I should surely find another to pull wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Who will you go, lassie, go?
I like to sing. I've always liked this kind of music, and it makes you want to join in, and I don't really play any instrument well enough, so one of the other girls was playing spoons, and I just gradually got it up enough nerve to participate.
We've had different closing songs, but finally I decided to learn a song called Leave Her, Johnny, Leave Her. And that's the song which the crew would get out their hostilities. They'd sing nasty things about the captain, first mate, the bosun, the ship's owners, whatever came into the minds. And the shantymen had to know the mood of the crew and just how to lead that. That was the tricky thing about shanties. The shantymen had to be psychologists.
Johnny, leave her, for the voyage is done, and the gales don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. And now 'tis time to say goodbye. Leave her, Johnny, leave her, for the old period is dry and nigh, and it's time for us to leave her. I'll leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her, for the voyage is done, and the gales don't blow, and it's time for us to leave Yarmouth one day for a spree. I met a fair damsel of the wind blowing free. I'm a fast-going clipper, be kind, sir, said she. I'm ready for cargo, me hold is quite free. And I falder-a-laddy, I falder-a-laddy, falder-a-laddy, I falder-a-laddy.
My beat-up, ragged old Chevy has seen 100,000 miles. When it used to be brand new, I rode around in style, but the music still comes.
Let's just stay at Howard Johnson's or something.
What is the matter with you?
This state has militia, they've got strange mountain people, and you know.
No, I do not know. Now, please, honey, go on inside and check us in.
If the clerk in there is missing a body part, if he's missing an eye, a hand, or a leg, then we don't stay here. Is it a deal?
Deal.
And if there's anything stuffed in there, any taxidermy or anything, then we...
Hello. What can we do for you?
Oh, hi. My wife and I would like a nice quiet room.
Oh, we can give you that. In fact, we have 12 empty cabins right now.
And how many cabins do you have?
13.
Oh, so there are other people here then.
I stay in one. But I can put you right next to mine. That way, you can just holler for room service.
Well, whichever one you'd like to give us would be fine.
For $40, I can let you have the Hawaiian suite.
What's that?
Now, when you go back out there, put those around your wife's neck, take her to the room, and put that in the tape player.
What's this?
Waves. Real, authentic Pacific Ocean waves I recorded in Hawaii. Just turn the lights out, put that in the machine, and I'm telling you.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'll take it.
The Hawaiian suite it is then, my good man. We rent movies, too. Is that your wife out there?
Yes, it is.
Very beautiful. She reminds me of my wife.
Thank you.
My wife was so very beautiful. I just loved telling her that. How she looked like a great lush tree in bloom, home to hundreds of beautiful singing birds.
Oh, thank you very much. Mom, everything is fine. Look, could you call the Cleaves for us? Bye, Mom.
I hope we'll see you here again.
I think this will be our spot.
at the Blackwall docks with Bidady. To Kate and Sally and Paul and Sue, our anchors weighed, our sails unfurled, we're off halfway across the world. Hurrah, we're outward bound, hurrah, we're outward bound. Jack is made to understand the ships in the harbour all want in hand. Pumps his gear as he's done before and bids farewell to his native shore, where he is outward bound.